Togo, we have opposition in Togo but there are no opponents. We have sour, opportunists and saprophytes. No one is here to be the martyr of the country. Everybody wants that. Says the political analyst. The crises or quarrels within the political parties of the Togolese opposition leave no one indifferent. They are different but have the same source according to this political analyst and metaphysicist. Esso-Bodi Soulé KEZIRE, since he is himself, recently claimed on a radio that there are no opponents in Togo and goes a long way to call them opportunists, sour and saprophytes. According to political analyst Esso-Bodi Soulé, several leaders of political parties who call themselves opponents did not come for the people but for a well-determined agenda. They want, the metaphysicist to be precise, that the people will be martyred, but the question is, who will they lead if the people are gone? He continues to give the example of the late Beninois Kirikau who refused the army to shoot at the people who threw stones at him during his campaign in 1990 by questioning the army, who will testify tomorrow if they were killed. We have opposition in Togo but there are no opponents. We have sour, opportunists and saprophytes. No one is here to be the martyr of the country. Everyone wants the people to be martyred but they don't want to be martyred. People didn't come for the country. Those who really kill themselves for the country are the ones who died. No one is ready to be a martyr. They want the people martyred. Who are you going to lead after all? If the people are martyred for you, then you will lead the animals. Gold, it's you who should be martyrs for the people. Mandela is a martyr because of the people he spent 27 years in prison. Gaddhafi, Lumumba and others were martyrs and you. When it catches fire, you flee across borders. Esso-Bodi Soulé KEZIRE fired. Indeed, the opposition political parties are in trouble today because they disobeyed Professor Léopold Gnininvi's appeal. Believe it, Esso-Bodi Soulé, if they had heeded Professor Gnininvi's advice, they will never have these problems in their parties. The crises of the opposition political parties are different but from the same source. That's because the base was falsified. If politicians had listened to Professor Gnininvi's advice, these crises would not be in the news today. Professor Gnininvi has always said, democracy first, multiparty later, but unfortunately, these politicians ignored it and put the cart before the bull. They are forced to step back today as the late President Iyadima Nasingbe said, Togo will go back 100 years. In fact, he was not talking about Togo but about opposition leaders, the metaphysicist stressed. Failures or crises in opposition political parties are foreseeable. If we follow CAR, Renewal Action Committee, tell me, leaving his party leader, what did Agboyebo forget in his office and came back? He had entrusted everything to Master Apavan. Why did he come back again? It is the return of late Master Agboyebo as the head of the party that is the #1 cause of destruction of CAR to date. I want to remind these CAR officials that late Master Agboyebo has gone with the party spirit. That's why they don't get along at all. See, the show they gave themselves in a holy place on the day of their convention. Looks like they want to draw the curse on them. They forget where they held their Congress is a holy place. They must pull their heads together and think of the ultimate interest not only of the party but of the people, Esso-Bodi Soulé KEZIRE said. As for the crisis of the Union of Forces of Change, UFC, metaphysicist KEZIRE says it's blue cap and blue cap. Mr. Gilchrist Olympio is under the weight of age and health, but all this is happening when he is alive, and after him, he must be able to choose his dolphin. I tell you and I repeat that Mr. Gilchrist Olympio is selfish. You know, everything has its time and every time has its thing. He's done his time and he needs to figure it out for once. I will be in his shoes. I was about to retire from politics since 2005 when former head of state Iyadima Nasingbe died. I wasn't even going to sign the 2010 agreement with RPT. I'm telling you that's where he signed his party's death. He only has to see from 2005 to present, what he has become, and before 2005, what he was for the Togolese. I tell you that before 2005, Mr. Gilchrist Olympio was well seen, loved and appreciated more than today. It seems like he wants to end up like a lit candle that will slowly extinguish until it disappears and it's over. We won't talk about him anymore. When I listened on the air of a radio in the place, what happened through Ohin, I asked myself several questions. Why is Gilchrist Olympio playing double? I wonder what this gentleman is still doing leading this party. How can an opposition leader fail to hit the table in his own party? And you think he can do better for the country? How can a president say one thing to one side and say the opposite to another? What game is he finally at? If he doesn't agree with both sides, let him hold his own Congress and there, we still elect him, right? Wished Esso-Bodi Soulé KEZIRE. According to reports, the party of late Master Yovi Agboyebo and President Gilchrist Olympio will soon hold their Congress. Note that all political parties must hold their Congress before month end.